Welcome in. How are you, ma'am? Happy New Year. Happy New Year if you believe in that stuff. Yeah, I titled the live Not a New Year because it's actually a special kind of like event for me because, I have literally, happy fake New Year, right? It's fucking ridiculous. And, Stella and I were talking about cycles, patterns, and learning the natural rhythms of the universe and how much, and how it plays a role on you, not only with the astrology, but understanding the seasons and what they actually represent. We're in a death cycle. You know what I'm saying? But we're out here partying and we're celebrating death. We should have done that on Halloween, right? And the energy doesn't lie, dude, because it's telling you everything that you need to know about fucking the winter solstice. And what the natives knew, that this was a time for death and rebirth, and celebration. They come together and they would talk about their experiences. They would come together and have ceremony for days on end, celebrating, the harvest and everything that they've been through for that year. And we don't realize that, that actually happens. Our New Year is in the spring. So a lot of people don't even really understand that their fucking clock is off, and you're off by months because we don't study the seasons, and we don't realize that the seasons is actually an internal awareness. We go through this every year. You know what I'm saying? You plant seeds in the spring, right? Plant seeds in the spring, they grow in the summer, you harvest in the fall, and you celebrate the harvest in the winter, right? And that's how Yule is, Yule and help and more of the traditional ways, but we're here to put an even a bigger spin on that because there's a lot of correlations that are associated with the natural rhythms and cycles of the universe, And if we understood more about the seasons and what they actually represent and how they're correlated to the four directions, east, south, north, west, it would also help us in a profound understanding of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even realize, what's up, Mr. Burke? How you doing, Megan? We don't realize that, there are things that are tanking right now. Emotional relationships, emotional awareness within ourselves. Like, this is a really dark time for a lot of people, not realizing the holidays have always been like that, right? A lot of people get depressed around this time. A lot of people jump off, you know what I'm saying? Like, they do stupid shit. They get drunk. They drink too much. They end their life. Not realizing that this is that time of purification. This is that time of death. This is that time of releasing and purging and fucking renewing yourself, right? And I can't say that the planets aren't backing this up a fucking 100%, because basically everything that's going on with the astrology right now is actually causing us to be more committed to something that is more real than the fakeness that we've been living. You know what I'm saying? Something's asking us to be more authentic. Something's asking us to make clear and better choices. Something's asking us to rise above our petty foolishness, our flaws, whatever we don't like about ourselves, whatever we don't like about other people, whatever we don't like about anything, to be honest with you, when you put things into perspective. Because you realize that the only thing that this is doing for you, which is not productive, is slowing you down and putting unnecessary pressure on each and every one of you, because you're all stressed out for whatever reason, because you've been holding on to shit that you're not meant to carry. And that's why a lot of people are disgruntled, not realizing that the natural cycles and patterns are happening to us. And if we were more accepting of that very fact, we wouldn't suffer as much as we do around these times. You know what I'm saying? There's personal experiences everywhere, Spirit is saying, but we are in the season of death. We are in the season of letting go. We are in the season of becoming more aware or self-aware of the things that we're not meant to pack anymore. It's that unpacking that allows us to understand everything that's being laid out on the table right now, everything that's being laid out on our plate, to realize that this is actually divinely led, that you're being shown a way, that this is your path, is what Spirit is saying. So when we kind of like, there's a lot of impulse right now to want to beat ourselves up or to want to make a decision on something or act out because we just want to be right. And the reality of it is that is a selfish ego as well. You know, for those of you who want to get even or just want to justify this somehow or come to judgment on something to make yourself feel better, don't. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you still have to deal with you and whatever it is that you're holding on to, and whatever it is that's nonsense is ailing you right now. It's causing suffering. It's asking you to rise. It's asking you for release. It's asking you for surrender. It's asking you to submit. It's like almost the universe's way of saying, hey, I would like that back now, please. You know what I'm saying? Are you done with it? Because it's not really serving you and it's actually hurting you. You know? And this is where the conversation gets really, really interesting because of the heart space. You know, a lot of people have heard me talk about my experiences as an energy healer and the realizations that Spirit and my wife have taught me. You know, my elders, my teachers have taught me that a lot of everything, a lot of diseases come from a broken heart, right? And we're in the season of realizing what has broken us and what we've been holding on to on a deeper level. And for some of us, it's because of the love that we have the ability to give that this is happening to us. And it may seem unfortunate for many, but unfortunately, this is what you got to realize, how special and beautiful you are, each and every one of you. Open our hearts. Be more forthcoming and forthwilling to see the very things that you need to see about yourself because they're divinely led to you at this time. It's important to know that each and every one of you are here now for that understanding of the divine oneness that you are all connected to. It's without this understanding that we lack, we need, we doubt, we fear, we need security, we need to control, we obsess over comfort and stability and stimulation. The stimulation is kind of like the wrongdoing of humanity, because if you follow the dopamine, like Stell says, if you follow the dopamine, it only leads you to where you don't need to be and what you need to learn. But we don't even know how to be grateful for that aspect, realizing that on the other side of the fence. And that's why great pain and sorrow ensue, because we don't realize that in those moments that we're meant to release those things, that we're meant to say thank you for those things, that we're meant to realize those things in one way or another. We're not supposed to hold on to it. We're not supposed to be continued to be agitated or possessive over an energy that we're actually here meant to release here now. You know, I hear somebody, the Spirit saying, what are you holding on to? If you really look at it, what are you holding on to? You're holding on to somebody else's pain and discontent because that's all you've ever seen. You're used to it. It's a pattern behavior. And now it's about breaking those cycles. We are the cycle breakers. That's what we're here for. To break these cycles of pain and shame and grief and fear and overthinking and overstimulation and following the dopamine. Because it makes no sense no more. We do not receive our satisfaction from these things. We receive our satisfaction from the knowing, the gift, the intuitive self, the wondering, the imagination, the curiosity, the feeling of the flow and the love that is you. Each and every one of you possess this because that is the very thing that you're created from. And even though that it may seem childlike to feel this way, it is necessary for you to grow and understand that that is meant to mature, because that is sacred and it needs to be protected, because it is a gift. And it's a gift bestowed onto humanity that each and every one of you hold in one way or another. And it's of great responsibility to understand the divine flow and the divine frequency and the divine part of what you play with and who you are and how you play it. And the orchestrations and the architecture, or the orchestrations is what they said. I guess it's architecture and orchestration. The orchestrations of this context that we are speaking to you right now is very important to understand. We are trying to make it as simple as possible, or if not as low as possible, to get a general thought or general thinking about what we truly desire and what we want in our lives, what we truly hold on to and why, what we truly possess and what we have the ability to digress. what we have the ability to absorb. Some of us can't even take it anymore. Our nervous systems are shutting down. Our regulatory systems are fighting against each other. We're making each other sick. We're making ourselves sick by not realizing that the flow of life is something that is fighting against us because we are fighting ourselves when we were meant to naturally go that way. You know, as the river flows, you know, some people will associate it with emotions, but you can also associate water with life and the flow itself, and where you, what role you would like to partake in the flow of your life. We're all self-responsible in one way or another. We pay bills, we're still living and breathing, we've maintained to be here so far, but yet we come with a great many backpacks of burden. No more. You have to allow yourself to do those things. That is how you set yourself free, with tutelage, with understanding, with eldership, and understanding that there is a hierarchical process of teaching these things because you cannot absorb them all at once. So we have to be patient with our skills and learn and hone our inner stillness and our stability. And from that stability breeds the clarity. And from the clarity are the building blocks of the life that you create for yourself and the life that you're meant to live and the life that you're supposed to be connected to with one another in one way. It's an emotional understanding and an emotional process that we're going through. A lot of you are lethargic, you're tired, you just can't take this shit anymore. When is it over? I'm just fucking done with this. I can't wait for the new year. I'm gonna make a resolution. Don't make any resolutions right now. Because aren't you tired of making promises that you cannot keep? How many times have you actually promised yourself and kept it? They say that New Year's is all about resolutions, but the only resolution that you create is your own demise. By making those promises and not keeping to them. Because God's promise is ever loving and ever giving. And some of us are holding on to things and we cannot keep. We're meant to release those things. We're meant to give those things back. We're meant to understand these things. We're not meant to be fucking victims of our circumstances. We're meant to be those people that rise above and see shit for what it is, so that way we can take the next man and raise them up. Or female. It doesn't matter who you are. We're both. Even though you cannot see them in form, there's a balance of the being. There's a balance of the hemispheres. There's a balance of the masculine and the feminine. There's a balance between north and south and east and west. And it always ends in the center. Right here. If you ever look at the cross, at the center of everything is you. At the center of you is God. So the cross actually has tremendous symbolism if you know how to look for it. Because that is the very representation of the vibration that a lot of you are seeking, not the dopamine. A lot of you are seeking satisfaction and stimulation through false principles and misunderstandings. And that just breeds suffering and more misunderstanding. And then it takes everybody with you that is associated with it. Or the ones that are associated with it take you with it. You get to choose, but it's kind of a yin and yang thing. You all share responsibility by vibrating at these frequencies the way that you should. You know, for being the personality that you are in this moment, on this time frame. And when it comes to time, that's why the natural rhythms and the circadian rhythm of all that is, that things that come natural to you is part of your awareness, it's part of your skills, it's part of your understanding, it's part of you realizing that you are fighting your body in one way or another because it has its own natural instincts and you are trying to over pursue, over commit, wear yourself out. The body's gassed right now for a lot of people. They've been through many things. But those many things have led to a very profound understanding of yourself, is that either you can carry no more, or you must carry more or carry through. But it's a you decide situation at this time. A lot of people around you are reacting to the very thing that is you. A lot of people, your independent experiences or your unique independent experiences are something to take a look at right now, because you'll notice that it basically has everything in it that you can pursue. Anything that is in your mind, anything that is in your structure is literally around you at all times. You see it. They gave me the instinct of a white Jeep, you know, because some of you see Jeeps. Some of you see pictures on a consistent basis. Some of you have this sort of physical or biblical affirmation of seeing the universe and how it works repetitively and to see if you're paying attention. And our bodies are the first telltale signs of those things, because with our body awareness, with us tuning into ourselves and understanding that we feel, but we are not meant to over process. We're meant to process the emotion in a way that doesn't necessarily require a lot of thinking, more so an openness to understanding right now. We're trying to beat shit over the fucking head and it's not working, you know? And the only thing that you have the ability to do is to submit somehow and allow yourself to have some fucking peace for a change, because your body is overstimulated and your nervous system is literally shutting down, and you know, or has shut down for a very long time, and now it's all coming back online. It's all being reactivated. A lot of us are sensitive, cold drafts, an unexplained wind that might be touching you on your hand, you know. And I hear feel the flow. Allow yourself to know what moves you, what is inside you. Allow yourself to know those things, or have someone help you know those things, to have a more compassionate understanding of the very thing that you are, so that way you don't have to live the way that you've been living. Only with the cost of your old self does this come. And some of us don't realize that we're still trying to hold on to the piece of paper that's already been torn off. It has to go. It has to. It's meant to be. And the more we struggle, the more we fight, the slower it is. It's a why suffer, Spirit just said. When you can make a clear-cut choice about your life and make an actual promise to yourself like you have before. Once more. A promise to get back to the whole, the full, the one you, the self, the spirit, the understanding of this whole spirit body experience that a lot of people are having, and then we wonder why we have an identity crisis. It's because the spirit is willing to understand, but the mind is not, and that creates suffering. So you see how we're kind of like just bumping up against ourselves every time, not realizing that we are the ones who are the culprits. A lot of fucked up shit happens to us, fam. Don't get it fucking twisted. But we also have to see that there's darkness that needs to be settled from one life or another, whether it's here or not. And that's why we do the shamanic journeys and soul retrievals for people, because sometimes there's a lot of you who don't want to go to the past because it's fucking scary or it hurts or you don't want to fucking think about it. And that's what we're here for. We help you go get yourself back from those places. And 9 times out of 10, it's this little boy or this little girl or a child that their security and their stability and their innocence was distorted somehow, was traumatized, was troubled. And then we lock those pieces away, and then we build on top of those things. And then we realize that sooner or later, when it starts to all unravel, it all has to unravel, and we have to get to the deep-seated aspects of ourselves eventually. Because we can no longer sustain, or we have made the decision to no longer sustain, a life of complexity and bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The soul retrieval works just as we explained, is that basically what we do is we go into a meditative state where you are guided into the underworld, or where pieces of you have been left behind, and we bring them back to the surface, and we deal with them openly, honestly, compassionately. We come to terms with them, and then we release them. Okay? Because once you understand something, everything changes. And if you want to know why you're holding on to what it is that you're holding on to, or you don't know why you're holding on to it, but you don't want to hold on to it anymore, this is it. This is the opportunity for that. This is why we do what we do. We help people get themselves out of the shadow aspect, or out of the survival aspect, or out of fucking hell, the underworld. All right? Pick them up far enough to see above the fucking horizon, so that way they can see what the hell was really going on, in order for them to make a choice or stand up and make a decision about how they're going to act after these realizations come up in that space. And of course, you're guided, you are safe, you are protected, okay? We are here by your side, speaking to you. There's feelings that need to be had, and some of them might be cold. You might almost feel frozen at times. But that's how long it's been waiting. And that's important to understand before you jump into that space as well. You know, we have to be willing, we have to be forthcoming. And the funny thing is that these disciplines that are part of this service are also part of the spiritual self and a daily practice. So you're learning two things simultaneously, and how to get into a true meditation space where you can commune with the energy, with the spirit, with the soul, with the self. You know what I'm saying? And we provide all those services for each and every one of you. Even you don't know how to do it, we know how to do it with you. And give it a couple times and you can do it yourself. We're not here to gatekeep shit. We're here to set people free. You know? And it only comes at the cost of your own self and your willingness to invest in yourself, and how stubborn you're going to be to do that. How much of a promise are you willing to promise yourself? How much of a commitment are you willing to make? Because nobody's committed to you like that before, I promise you. Okay? It's a commitment like no other, because you are basically in matrimony with yourself. And you have now made a promise to yourself that you are in matrimony with yourself, and you will see it through forever and ever. It's always been about you. But you don't know that till you actually turn and face the Creator. And you get to see how special you really are. And what you're here to do, how you want to be, what you get to act out. Everybody wants to manifest, right? What better way to manifest with a connection to the source? Instead of blindly getting hit over the head by the things that you didn't realize were going on inside of you before. And that's what a retrieval also does. So you see how these things are interconnected, fam. They all go like this. Each and every one of the services that we have are all interconnected. Okay? It's a beautiful system. Divinely orchestrated. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for clarity, whether you're looking for sobriety, whether you're looking to understand your emotions, whether you're looking to not overthink things, whether you're looking to stop the sadness, whether you're looking to put a pause on everything that's going on around you, we're here for you. We spiritually understand these things because we've been taught, we've experienced, we've learned, we've grown through these things. And it's beautiful to be a guide in that space because it helps people understand themselves. We're not here to belittle anybody. We're not here to make anybody feel falsely special. You can do that all on your own. But the true understanding of what it is to be special and unique is that there is only one you out of 8 billion people. What the fuck are you comparing yourself to? Good question. Right? But we don't know. We don't know till we know. And we have to forgive ourselves for the punishment that might come associated with the fact that we know what we know. Because that's also part of the victimization and survival instincts that we created for ourselves to do better. to know more, to do better, out of survival, out of push, out of literally getting a fucking bulldozer and plowing through everything. And I'm not talking about no bullshit little dozer you can get at Home Depot. I'm talking about a fucking D9 cat, okay, which is considered an earth mover. You really don't know what you're pushing up against till you let it all fucking you let it all flow around you and set yourself free from it just for a moment. Just to fucking take a good look at where you're at right now. Happens all the time, and you can do it in any moment, and we teach you and we help you practice these things to better understand self-control and what that actually means. Because it's not a control, it's an understanding, it's a knowing. It's knowing that you only have to be aware that it's happening. And then you get to practice that. And then you build on that. And then the more and more comes, the more clarity, the more spiritual understanding, the more abundance, the more ability to manifest your dreams, your goals, your desires, the way things were intended to be in the first place. You know? It's just funny. It's funny how when it's so easily explained to society, how yet even the spiritual understanding of this very realization that we are speaking of will cause you to go into demise. Will cause you to say that I can't do that, that I'm not for it, that that's not me, that I'm not a part of that. I am no longer associated. And that is the very ignorance that we suffer from. Because we don't realize that the deep inner work hasn't been done yet. But yet we fight against it on the surface, not realizing that we actually had to create a hole to get it all out instead of just what's coming up. And that's what the soul retrieval does. So I hope that explains your question, Tanya. You know, because, you know, there's a certain rapport that people need to have with each other in order to trust them to be able to handle these type of situations. And I completely understand that, you know, from a professional space and with all due respect to another fucking human being. You know what I'm saying? Because we are divine in essence and we're to respect that. You know, sometimes we feel like we can only respect people as far as they're, you know, as much as they respect themselves. No, that's a walk away opportunity. Because if you're meant for more, you rise more and you have that realization, you're the one that knows more and you should keep going anyway. You know? I believe there's a lot of confidence in understanding how these practices help you realize that the strength has been in you this whole time. It's just been dormant. Light has not been shed upon it. But when we actually focus on it, and we start shedding light upon it, that's when the truth unfolds. And the more we intend to see the truth of what that is, the more it reveals itself to us, as long as we're willing to take control and make choices and decide whether we're going to engage it or not, or whether it's bullshit or not, or whether this is based on a fucking fallacy that you're no longer a part of. You know? Let that sink in, is what Spirit said. You know, the emotional process can be very, it's like my wife says about the ego, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Because they let them rule us because we've been led to believe that they rule. No. That's the flow of life that is creating a sensation inside of our bodies that is causing us to look around and actually know what it is. And that's the basics. We don't have to react or respond to it in any way but joy. And that is our birthright. But you have to learn, you have to grow, and we have to learn how to defend ourselves against foreign energies. Because it's part of our teachings. We got to learn how to push these things away till there's only one voice in your head. And if it ain't your higher self, you know who it is. That's the goal. Is to match you up with the real you. Not the one that fucking aches and pains and suffers. It's to match you up with the real you. The one that is no longer discontent and that is actually happy to be here. We want the real you, the authentic you, the truthful you. honest you, humility you, because all of you are worthy and deserving of those things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You'd be somewhere else, off to the races, scrolling through God knows what. But you're here. And whether you realize it or not, something called you. You followed your intuition enough to get here somehow, or stay here, or at least preview before you come in. Because this feels a certain type of way. Nobody's trying to sell you something here. This is the flow of life. This is the energy of healing. This is the energy of understanding, healing, learning, and growing. You know, this is the power of positivity and the influence of presence that we have as healers, that we have the ability to give to others. But we must humble ourselves first to get to the spiritual knowledge, because it's all buried beneath what we think is what's on the superficial level, the physical. And what we need to do is focus our being on non-physicality, which means we are attached to no thing, no self, the identity, the pretend character that's been playing in the background, trying to keep you from doing dumb shit, but also keeping you from doing the things that you really need to be doing, because it's kind of like a yin and yang pulse wave. When you let the current carry you, you're pretty much victim to anything that happens in that current in one way or another, unless you're looking around fucking protecting yourself, right? You know, making sure that you stay above water, that you don't get drowned, that you follow the current, because you know the current leads to somewhere. You know, trust God is what I hear. The universe, source, name one. You're welcome, White Wave. That's what we're here for. It's to show love, you know what I'm saying, and appreciation for the divine, because we are divine as well. You know, my wife was talking to me today about, you know, we talk every day, and we were talking about giving it away to keep it, giving it away to get it back. We were never, and it fucking tripped me out, because we were never really meant to hold on to anything. We're an emotional rhythm. You know what I'm saying? A vibration, a frequency that carries us into the beginning, is what Spirit's saying. The beginning of a new era, new year, a new perspective, a more clear understanding and aspect of where you belong, who you are. You know, because to believe that you're not, again, they take me back to the unique aspect. Dude, why are you not celebrating the fact that you're one of 8 billion? How is that not something that we have the ability to show gratitude for, and focus more on ourselves and see what other promises are there? What can unfold? What can we reveal? What can we conceptualize in that space? What could we imagine? What's that like? Of what it's like to be sovereign, free. What it's like to understand that these gifts, or whatever sensations you are having inside of yourself at this moment, are divinely led, and not something that you are necessarily controlling unless you're doing it on purpose. Can you explain that? Scary for some, mind-blowing for others, and understanding for those who are in control, in balance and harmony, and not coming from a place of lack or unworthiness. Someone who comes forth and literally speaks for more than themselves, that speaks for millions. Here I am. You know, because we all got that little voice in our head one way or another that wants to fucking destroy everything that we ever fucking want. Okay? It's a machine. It's there for a reason. It wouldn't be challenging if we didn't have to succumb ourselves to these things. We wouldn't appreciate those things if we didn't go through everything else before. You know, we don't know how to appreciate those things because nobody actually sat us down and taught us those things. Yeah, you know, we know what grateful is because we read it in a fucking dictionary and people showed it to us, but What does gratitude actually feel like from the divine? The very thing that you are, you know what I'm saying? The essence of God, the creator. What does that feel like? I can almost hear people like, oh, I haven't thought about that before. I never asked that. What happens when it does? Well, there's one way to find out. We can show you, or you can try it on your own. Either way, I know we'll cross paths once more. You know? But at least it's an effort in the right direction. At least it's an effort to be more consciously free. Because you know that stems from thee. Everything comes from you. Your vibration, your frequency, your energy, your aura is what manifests the physical. It's what creates everything for you. It's what aligns your path. It's what literally surrounds you, unconditionally waiting for the next frequency upgrade or acceptance or release, or, you know, a higher vibrational. We were designed to evolve, dude. You know, and be careful, because that shit will take you off like a rocket. That's why it's important for us to have a strong spiritual foundation. Or you end up in the netherworld where you think that you are the third generation ascended being of whatever master. You know, yeah, we've all fall off the deep end in one way or another. I'm hearing it. You know, and when we understand that space, that there's a certain groundedness that needs to be had to be able to engage in this space, then you engage in the proper teaching of that very discipline, and you strengthen your lower dantian, your lower chakras, your connection to the mother, the very thing that you are. You were created from its elements, so it is you in a sense. And that warm embracement and that re-understanding and that reconnection is really important right now. And we can, it's now more than ever, to be honest with you, dude, because we're all ascending, whether or not we realize it or not. Everybody's changing. They're fucking walking up through the matrix right now. And some are getting anxiety and having panic attacks, while the other ones are going, what the fuck is going on? I'm tired. You know? So, you know, we need to understand these things, because it's part of what it is to be a human being. It's part of what it is to be naturally connected to everything around us. We already knew this shit, fam. We're descendants of it. We knew the natural ways long ago. And it's no surprise that here they are coming back up again for us to embrace the natural rhythm of all that is. The natural rhythm of life and awareness. And how consciousness speaks and grows and evolves and expresses itself through us all. Because we're it. You know, that's the reality of it. Right? You know, some of us can turn on Netflix in 3 minutes and completely forget about everything, right? And we don't realize that that's a disillusion in itself. It's not the time to pick up the TV. It's the time to pick up a book and study yourself, because of any emotions that you're trying to literally run from right now are calling you. They're knocking on your door. They're not leaving you alone somehow. So grounding, to have the clarity, is giving the divine permission to show you more, the truth, why you're that way, what you're holding on to, why you keep holding on to that. You know? It's all there on a silver platter, is what they say. So if anybody has any questions about our services, I just want to let everybody know that I am doing another circle, fam. Sound and energy healing this weekend on the full moon. On the 3rd, I will be doing a sound and energy healing circle. The link is in the bio, or you can go to fourcornershealing37.com for your nervous system reset, for a lot more grounded stability, groundedness and stability. The cleanliness is, you know, spiritual hygiene is a thing, is what Spirit, you know, just said. Cleanliness from the back. You know, we all understand that we're all rhythm and form, man. And when we're out of harmony, so is everything else. So it's important for us to be in harmony with everything around us, in one way or another. Whether we have to protect ourselves from it or we got to fight through it, we have to understand that we are the harmony itself, and we're enacting harmony as we speak, as we talk, as we walk, you know, as we learn and grow. And we need to be compassionate and respectful of that space because there's a great superpower behind it and you all wield it somehow. So, if anyone has any questions about what we talked about today or is interested in a shamanic journey, a soul retrieval, spiritual counsel, soul counsel, of course, looking for guidance, looking to strengthen their lower body, their lower Dantian, ready to, engage in a more grounded experience of what we're actually talking about here through physical experience, one-on-one, we can do those things for you, and if anybody reaches out, okay, that reaches out to me directly, I will be giving them $22 off a service for whichever one is is pretty much suitable for that person, and I will send you the coupon code personally as a thank you for stepping forward, not only investing yourself, but actually taking the time for yourself to learn and grow in a conscious way, in a more positive way, in a more promising way, without any expectation, because the confirmation is something that you can physically appreciate. The confirmation is the appreciation, is what Spirit said. So share this with anybody you think that could benefit from this. I am going to post this right after this live. To download it, I'm going to throw it up on YouTube or throw it up on TikTok, and you can share that with anybody that you think may need that type of guidance and help in your life as well, including yourself. This is an open invitation, is what Spirit is saying. The only thing that you have to do is step forth and step out of the crowd, because we're all hiding somewhere. The people in this room not realizing it, but there's something inside of you that tells you that either is ignoring that very statement, or is that feeling into that statement confirming the very fact that there's something that needs to be looked at there. Confidence is a bitch, but when you have it, you have it. When you don't, you know it. That's where instability comes from. Our confidence or lack thereof. So that's why the lower Dantian space, strengthening of your spiritual foundation, understanding energetic hygiene, creating good physical boundaries for yourself is a common practice, and it's a commitment. Because you'd be amazed how much of the shit you actually tolerate that you shouldn't. And that's an honest fact. So ladies, gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to listen to these things, because sometimes that's all we need to do to take the next step, is take a moment and listen, because the wind is calling you right now, and it's the wind of the divine, and they're asking you to step up in your lives and take appreciation and take note of the behavior that's going on right now, because it's not really you, but you have to discover the why and the how. And here we are. So with that being said, if any of you would like an energy healing here on live, I am doing those today for $22. If you'd like one, please say it in the chat that you'd like one, and I'll take the time to let you donate, to hit the link in the bio and all those things, because I'm here for people, but I can always do something else that's needed if nobody needs me anymore, or nobody's looking for that stuff now, or nobody has questions. I know I need help, but not sure with where to start. Soul counsel, lady. Soul counsel. If you're lost, you're stuck, you feel unsafe, counsel. One-on-one with the divine. And let it speak. And let it know you. Let you know that it knows you. Because your higher self is calling, I hear. And it wants you. You're being drafted. I'm going to tell you something, Allie. From my experiences being in this space. We think about doing something. We know it'll feel good to do it. But then we chicken out because we don't pull the trigger when God gave us the idea in the first place to set us free. And then it slowly erodes away. No, I meant to do that. And then 3 days pass by and, oh, maybe I'll do that next week. And then next thing you know, it just disappears and out of your existence. And it's no longer an idea anymore because it hasn't been fed. It hasn't been accepted. So therefore it dies just like a plant does. If there's no light, there's no water, there's no shade. You know, we're no different from them. We just have to see it for ourselves. You know, I was even telling my wife and another friend out in New York, I was like, we're no different from plants, dude, see? You know? You can do whatever works for you, ma'am. We are flexible in that space. Okay? We understand that everybody's journey and availability is unique. Okay? But, you know what I'm saying? We will work with you as long as you communicate. Because I think communication is key for a lot of things. You know? And we don't have to be afraid to communicate in this space because this is all about you. And how you can grow and how you can learn and how you can accept things and how you can process things and observe things and how you can align yourself. It all happens in this space. All at once, simultaneously, and then we show you how. The proof is in the pudding, dude. We're all about confirmations. No, you're welcome. I feel like people should ask more of these questions. Some of us are afraid to understand these things. Some of the, you know, the ego, we say it all the time, the ego does not like being exposed. It will find every excuse and every fucking reason to deject something that you're successful at. Because it desires the sorrow. Because it desires the serotonin. Because it wants to feel that way. Because it feels, because it wants to feel. And we don't even realize that we have habits. Unconsciously and unknowingly, these habits are addictions. And they're playing out in our subconscious, not allowing us to grow, not allowing us to set ourselves free. Creating unnecessary paranoia and thought patterns to where we just become robots and repeat cycles day after day. Not realizing that it is the very suffering that is speaking to us because our body can no longer hold on to this in the manner that it's actually calling to you and asking you, set me free. Let me be. I no longer need this. I no longer need thee, excuse me. You know? So, with that being said, if anybody has any more questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them now. Otherwise, I'm going to get up out of here. It's been wonderful spending time with each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year for those of you who believe in this shit. It's not New Year's. It's in the spring. Don't believe the fucking hype. Everything's a fucking lie. But you get to see the truth. Nah, no problem, Tanya. That's what we're here for, bro. I tell people all the time, it's like, oh, the only thing that you have to do is take that step. Okay? And the proof is in the pudding. And you have nothing to cry about after. You know? There's no bitching. There's no complaining. There's no whining. There's no, oh, I can't do this and I can't do shit. Oh, I am this way because I'm this way. No, fuck that. Okay? We believe ourselves to be crippled and enslaved. And it is a very belief that we use against ourselves to pin us down. Set yourself free. You know? And I had to say it. The Spirit just said it. Set yourself free. Understand these things for what they are. You know? Because when you deal with it with logic information, you combat the emotion through facts, not lies or lineages. Because we pass those things on too. And some of it's passed on to us. And that's why we need to go to the shadow to get those things. To raise light on the situation of what's actually underlying beneath those things. Yeah, it's actually on the website. If you go to the link in the bio, which is that little clicky thingy right there, right? There's a link in the bio that says Linktree. And the Four Corners Healing 137 website is actually the first icon that you can click on. It's real easy. And you go to the Healing Grove, right? Little menu on the top, right? And then you click on Healing Grove, and Soul Council will probably be on the top. And that's how you get started. But before you purchase it, please reach out to me and I'll give you actually during checkout, I'll give you a coupon code because I'll be on the computer waiting for it. You know what I'm saying? Because people really need help, dude. But, we got to want those things, all right? And we don't understand that it's the wanting that got us in trouble in the first place when we were actually in a position of doing. We all have a choice to make. And putting together the pieces of that puzzle and helping you understand yourself is what we do. Okay? It starts with one little thing. But the first step is always yours to take. We can't pull you in. We're not here for that. We're here to be of service to those who are willing to understand. And the only thing that you need in this point is to understand that you either have the willingness to understand and the willingness to go forward, or you'll find every other reason not to. Because that's what happens every time. When was the last time we finished a project? When was the last time we completed something and we're proud the fact that we proud through the whole journey? Because we knew that once we did this, once we accomplished this, we actually made a promise to ourselves and we set through and we completed it. So, you know what I'm saying? If there's a resolve or a resolute for people to understand is, first, this is not the new year. We're in a death cycle. New Year's in spring. Okay, that's why our timing's all fucked up and we're all out of whack and insane. And the second one is pull the trigger on what you desire the most, not from a place of obsession, but from spiritual understanding, which is taking you back, taking control back, not being out of control. Understand what commitment and discipline actually mean. What is the loving aspect of that? Because everybody can think it's all hard-ass soldier shit. It only is in the beginning till you start really seeing the truth for what it is. You're not beating yourself up. You're beating the shit out that fucking kept you locked up in the first place. You think you'd be more courageous and, understanding what you're doing, right? When you're fighting against this, it's like, no, motherfucker, I'm going to win. But not from an ego space. It's because I know this is meant to leave. I know this is meant to go. I know I'm meant for so much more. And when you start speaking that, movement and change happen rapidly. And we show you these things. Weeks, months, doesn't matter. Could be years. It's all about the long game, not short-term results. It always has been that way. Because the path of the infinite will teach you those things, will speak to you and help you understand that it's like, hey, dude, this isn't just a one lifetime thing. You know that. We don't have to be so selfish or self-centered in that space. But it's all about how you enact your life here and enact your role here that creates a positive outcome. We should wish more for that. Right? We should. It's just the intent itself right here, right now. Doesn't that feel better? Of intending to do that? Intending to be this way? Not from an ignorant space, but from an observing space where you're actually paying attention to what the fuck is going on. Not putting your eyes down and looking down everywhere you fucking walk because you fear, because you don't want to feel shit, because you don't want to see shit, because you're just ignorant to it. That's dejection. You're ignoring the very thing that created you. You don't realize it. It's like, oh, I'm not focusing on negativity. No, you're hiding. There's a difference. Okay? Because you can keep your chin up. All right? And not focus on negativity. You can look at negativity dead in the eye and tell her that you're not afraid. Because you've already been there. Because you've done it before. Because it knows you and you know it. And now you've created a common bond with it that you don't no longer desire it. You know? But you have to see everything that you had to fight against to get it. You know what I'm saying? Fighting yourself. And then the reverse aspect of that of bringing yourself into the present moment and embracing the positive aspect. I encourage so many people to jump on board, bro. I would be so happy to help people, man. I'm like, yo, there's another way, dude. Yo, come this way. Check this out. Just listen to me. Just listen to what Spirit has to say. Okay? I don't have to convince nobody. We're not here for that. Okay? We're here for the ones that we're here for souls. The ones that want to evolve and grow. You know, it might not be for everybody. Or you might not feel like this is for you. It doesn't matter. It'll happen eventually. It's infinite. It always has been and always will be. It will ever be. Forever be. You know, we need to have more compassion for those spaces and understand that there's, you know, we have universal guidelines that we're to adhere to. You know, that Earth school really isn't a demeaning school, but it's definitely a place where you learn how to deject things because they no longer matter. You know, and a lot of things in the mind really don't matter. And that's where we're moving through right now in this season. So, with that being said, I bid you all adieu. Thank you for being here. I ring the bell for all of you. You know, a little love and a little discipline goes a long way, fam. That thing rings for a long ass time. Well, if you have any, like, again, reach me out on the website, man. I'll be there on there right after this, doing my thing. Again, thank you all for being here, and thank you for being you. Much love, fam. Little heads up. It'll be better next week. So you might want to balance yourselves out this week, man. Because it's a little bumpy from here on out. You know, we're reaching the full moon. You know, for those of you who want to engage in the circle, just look at the link in the bio. Get in. The event is on the website. It's just $22 to join. It's nothing but a success every time. I've had nothing but positive feedback since I started doing it, and I really appreciate all of you for being here. So, you know, show some love and support, share this message, or come to the show, you know, and we'll definitely learn how you'll definitely balance and grow, you know, and it will ease up the nervous system and all the stimulation simultaneously. It is a sound and energy healing circle. So, all right, fam, y'all take care. Much love. Peace.